Good afternoon, YouTube. Can't Biker here again. Out for another quick ride. I think I start every video with out for a quick ride. And it's a few days since the news was on the telly. Well, it's still on the telly, but the news came out that sadly Nelson Mandela's died. And I would guess, of course, because now I'm in my 40s, I'm getting on a bit. I would guess a lot of people won't really know a lot about apartheid. I've got one little story I can tell you that is a kind of personal to me. It's personal to the family anyway. Probably about 25 years ago. In fact, a little bit longer than that, probably 28 maybe years ago. Still, I was a teenager myself and still living at home with my parents, of course. And my dad got a letter, and the letter was from his Uncle John, who he'd never met, I don't think. Certainly if he had met him, he hadn't met him in decades. And he'd moved to the Isle of Man. Somewhere I must go for the TTs, I digress. He'd moved to the Isle of Man, and he wanted to get in touch because he was near Britain. So he did, and we all met up. So he's my great uncle. We all met up, and a real nice chap. Unfortunately, he's died since, but he was a lovely chap, lovely family. Now, he, for a long time, lived in South Africa during apartheid. He worked out there, he lived out there. So obviously he was there. I hate this junction. He was there during all of the problems. Horrible blind junction, that. And it really was completely separate if you were coloured or if you were white. So they weren't allowed to use the same pavements, you weren't allowed to use the same buses and things like that, and you really weren't allowed to mix. And if you were black, you could get in real trouble for mixing. So you could, for example, a black man and a white woman might get together, or a white man and a black woman might get together, and if something went wrong, the black person would be in real trouble with the police. They could go to prison for having a relationship, and even being friends is not a good thing. I say it wasn't a good thing. So clearly, under the rules of apartheid, it wasn't a good thing. Now, my great uncle John went to a party. Went to a few parties that were a little bit dubious under the apartheid rule, where blacks and whites would both attend. I say this was illegal, so he shouldn't have been doing it. He would have got away with it. He would have got a slap on the wrist. The coloured people would have probably gone to prison. And while he was at one of these parties, he met a coloured woman, and he really liked her, so they organised to meet up again. And they met up again and fell in love. And then they would meet up over and over again, and they realised it was getting more and more dodgy. They were going to the same areas and they weren't supposed to be mixing. And eventually he decided that he would leave South Africa, and he left, and he organised for his wife to leave. His wife, I've given away the end of the story there, haven't I? His girlfriend to leave as well. And obviously they left separately and then met up again once they got out of the country and got married. Now, unfortunately, these things don't always have a happy ending. So once they were out and they'd been married a while, they had a daughter, and unfortunately the marriage broke up. And he remarried, and that's when he moved to the Isle of Man. and that's where we all met up with him. I suppose it's not that exciting a story. He wrote a book about it. It's quite hard to get hold of the book now. I've got a copy, obviously, but out of print now, and he's died, so obviously there's nobody pushing it. But he wrote a book called An Act of Immorality, and that's basically because the law of apartheid that stopped blacks and whites mixing was called the Immorality Act. It was deemed immoral for people of different colours to mix. Isn't that terrible? Oh, nice bike. Yeah, that's my little story. Unfortunately, it's a true story, so there's no whiz-bang no whiz-bang ending. Thinking about that bike, and no special effects or anything. I thought I'd let you know. It's kind of topical. That's got an L plate on, so presumably that's a 125. Oh, nice looking little thing for a 125. Is that really a 125? Doesn't even sound like one. Anyway, thanks for watching, YouTubes. Ride safe, and I'll talk to you again soon. $125. Very nice. Doesn't sound like a 125. Hey, it's a nice looking thing, isn't it? Very nice. Kill switch.